So this plant is a coleus, and it's a perennial. That means it has to go inside to survive in the winter. And I keep it in this bowl because the jar leaks the water out. And this morning I just put my vines up to get some sunlight.
Do you like gardening?
I like pulling weeds. It's the satisfaction of the roots coming up. You only know what it's like if you have it. It's not like you can understand it fully if you don't have it. You need to have it to fully understand what it's like. I know I'm 14. I have Asperger's. It's a high-functioning autism, basically. That's the only real way to explain it.
Ever since Noah was a little boy, we knew there was something a little different about him. His preschool teachers would say he would get really upset if he got off schedule, and he always made sure that he told them if they were off schedule, and he didn't like change. When we moved, he got really upset. He was about 4 years old, and he wanted to go back to the other house. He didn't like change at all. So we always knew there was something a little bit different about him, but it took a long time to get a diagnosis. The pediatrician for a long time just thought he had ADHD. We went for special testing, and they just confirmed ADHD, and it wasn't until he was about 13 years old that I finally got him diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum.
A lot of people think of autism and stuff as a negative thing, maybe because of the organism autism speaks, but I digress. It's not really that bad if you know you have it. I mean, sure, it's not very fun to have it, but you can start learning to control it when you know you have it. A lot of people think of it as a disease. It's not a disease, it's a disorder. There's a huge difference. Because people think that autism is it's like a disease, it eats away at your brain or something. Not really. It's just born different, and you think differently. It's unique for every person that has it. But there's always one thing in common: they think differently. And if you think differently than everyone else, only those who think similarly to you would be able to get it, because it's your body and you're the one experiencing it. You can't really know how it feels if you don't have it. Basically, stuff that I do because of it, that I think: talk weirdly, say weird stuff, do stuff without knowing it. I can get a little bit, angry and frustrated, start being rude.
Getting the official diagnosis of being on the autism spectrum made Noah eligible for a lot of funding, so he was able to get an autism scholarship to go to a special school. He had a lot of trouble in school the last few years. Up until about 4th grade he was okay, but then in 5th grade he started having a lot of trouble because they want you to be a lot more independent, and he wasn't turning in his work because nobody would tell him to turn it in. He would get really upset when they changed the routines at school, so he was struggling a lot. So we had tried putting him in online school, which made things even worse. He didn't have the bullying he was getting in public school, but getting him to stick with his schedule and do his work was a lot more challenging. So getting the official diagnosis as being on the autism spectrum made him eligible for funding to go to a special school. He now goes to a school that is strictly for kids with learning disabilities and developmental disabilities. Most of the kids in the school are on the autism spectrum. There are a few other disabilities that they do there, but the majority of the kids are on the autism spectrum. So he's with a group of kids that are all just like him.
My first reactions were oh man, this is gonna be awesome. I did a visiting day at Bridgeway, and I'm okay, I gotta go to the school. I was so excited, I need to go to the school. I was okay, I'm accepted, so I'm gonna go into hypersleep now. until I get to my first day. I like it there because the teachers are actually like nice and competent, unlike my old school, and I don't get bullied. I mean, sure, it's loud, and there are a lot of runaway children.
Here, the students are offered a lot more options to get their stress out, their energy out, whether it's negative behavior or positive behavior. 3 of my students work for just bouncing on one of those exercise balls for the last 5 minutes of each lesson, reading, science, social studies, whatever. In public school, I don't think that they do things like that, give students as many options and strategies if they're having a hard time concentrating or whatever. So I think this school gives students way more opportunities and options which helps them learn to get their stress out, to get their energy out.
When we went to visit the school and look at it to see if it was something that he was interested in doing, he spent an hour just visiting the classroom, being in the room that he would be in if he had signed up to go to the school. And after that hour, we were heading home, and the first thing he said was, "Mom, all the kids in the class are just like me." And that was the first time he felt like he was like the other kids, because he always felt like he was different than everybody else in his class. So this school made him feel like he was normal, like he was just like everybody else.
I'm the life skills teacher, and among other things, it kind of encompasses a lot of areas. I think that's also the thing that Columbus Public or other public schools don't have as a lesson or as a curriculum is life skills. So things like problem solving with your friends, you got problems, obviously everybody does, all the way to brushing your teeth. So all of the life skills. And Noah has shown, I've had him for 2 years almost, I believe, and recently this year he's shown that he has wanted to teach and help teach some of my lessons, life skills lessons, specifically not getting what you want, which a lot of students have difficulty understanding how to, for me I call it acceptance, accepting no for an answer. Obviously sometimes students might want to do something that's not appropriate at that time. So that's one lesson that he has taught and that we've done. And I'm blanking on some other, but he has taught at least 2 or 3 lessons. So the difference is that he's able to teach those here, and I don't think that in public school they would allow that.
At my old school, before I knew I had autism, I know I got bullied a lot, but a lot of kids that got picked on, they were autistic. A lot of people target you for it. People target you, bullies, they target you if you have it. They just think that you're easier to pick on, you're easy pickings for them. Social interactions with kids at my old school, 90% of them were pretty bad. Those kids did not like me at all. Smart people and autistic people, the main targets for bullies in this world, to be honest. Quit bullying kids with autism. And don't joke about it. It's not something to joke about. It's not something to make fun of someone for.
Every 6 months we were at the doctor's, and she was trying to figure out what medication would work or what counseling would work. And within 5 months of starting to school, we were at the pediatrician's, and she looked at me and she goes, "He just seems so much more happy. He has developed so much more confidence. He's such a happy kid." And mainly that he feels like he's just like everybody else. He feels like he's got a lot of friends. He feels so much more comfortable in his own skin since he started this school. It's made an amazing difference. Anybody who thinks their child may have some kind of a learning disability or a struggle that everybody's telling them, their kid just isn't participating in class. That was one of the things we would get from Noah's previous teachers at public school, is he was refusing to do the work. And it turned out he wasn't refusing to do the work. He actually had a learning disability that affected his written expression. So they would tell him to write a paper, and he couldn't. He just couldn't get the thoughts from his head onto the paper. So he could tell you a story but not write it down. And his teachers in public school would just say he would refuse to do the work. So for anybody who has a child who the teacher is labeling them as a troublesome child, or a child refusing to do the work, and if you feel like there's something there that everybody else isn't seeing, I would encourage parents to just really push for more testing. And if you feel like there's something with your child that's different, just keep being their advocate and pushing until you get the answers that make sense.